all right, we're doing Andor again. The serious Star Wars that's almost too good to be Star Wars until it gets to the... And then it reminds you, no, we're still exactly the same as the rest of this goofy-ass Star Wars bullshit. But you'll see. Maybe you'll laugh as hard as I did. Which is not to say that I didn't like it. I liked it just fine. I enjoy this because I enjoy Star Wars stuff. That's the thing. I feel like a lot of people who enjoy Andor enjoy it in spite of it being Star Wars. I enjoy it as a different flavor of Star Wars. In fact, what I enjoy about Andor is the spectacle of watching them basically try to make high-end cuisine out of what is still fundamentally Burger King, Domino's, Taco Bell, McDonald's, you know? Like, you can dress it up, but Star Wars is still what it is. And that's fine. That's what it's supposed to be. It's kind of like why I like those Christopher Nolan Batman movies. It's a fun experiment, almost as a goof in itself, to see Batman stuff dress up and walk around in Godfather dress up. It's like watching a little kid walk around in his dad's office clothes. Like, oh, that's cute. Like, I forget the title, but there was a movie from Japan a couple years ago where they just did like a regular Japanese 70s gritty cop show, but they had all the roles played by little kids in like little kid-sized like grown-up 70s suits. Andor is basically almost the Star Wars version of that, but you're not expected to laugh at it. It's all this gritty, political, Battle of Algiers, French Resistance, World War II, mature war movie story stuff, but with Star Wars stuff in it. Like there's, they're doing political intrigue and metaphor, allegory, fascism stuff, and then like in the background, there's still a Wookiee, and you're not supposed to laugh at the fact that there's a Wookiee. And that's what's fun about it. And it works. Like, there's good storytelling here and cool, interesting stuff about how the rise of fascism works, how resistance and rebellion in wartime is made up of morally gray choices, and the way that these things actually work. Good storytelling, good lessons. I think the first season was better. It was more coherent. We'll get to that in a minute. And there's very good performances being given by these characters. Diego Luna, great actor. Stellan Skarsgård, great actor. Good stuff happening top to bottom. Good. Forrest Whitaker is really, really good as the most over-the-top type character in Saw Gerrera in this. And then every once in a while, there's, a talking trash can droid running through beep boop beep boop boop through the thing. And oh yeah, right, this is a Star Wars. That's crazy. That's, to me, what's fun about it. Like, the fact that this is happening in the same universe where somewhere there's a Ewok out in space somewhere else doing a yub-nub is terrific.
Hey, Leia, you got a date for the We Just Killed Thousands of People dance tonight?
No.
You do now. Pick you up at 7 and save Yub-Nub for me. Come to think of it, you can shave your Yub-Nub for me, too. Yo!
And I don't understand why I'm supposed to enjoy it in spite of that rather than because of it. To a certain extent, this is less the serious version of Star Wars, because Star Wars is already serious. Like, just because it's weird and silly doesn't mean it doesn't take itself seriously. It takes itself exactly as seriously as a Space Wizard franchise as it can. Star Wars is very serious about the light side, dark side, Force, lightsabers. Just because it's fun doesn't mean that it's not serious. Sometimes it even takes that stuff too seriously, like the Dave Filoni stuff, where everyone is always so po-faced about all of the lore and the mythology and the lightsabers and who lives and who dies and all of the religiosity of it, is kind of having less fun with the actual material than this is, oftentimes. Pretty much whenever people are not sword fighting. In a way, Andor is less the serious version of Star Wars, which is also serious in its own right, and it's more like the serious version of Spaceballs, if that makes sense. Because the central joke in Spaceballs is, what if we had to see the space Nazis also fill out all of their Nazi fascist paperwork, which is the actual undergirding of a fascist regime, is just the bureaucracy.
Prepare ship for ludicrous speed. Fasten all seatbelts. Seal all entrances and exits. Close all shops in the mall. Cancel the three-ring circus. Secure all animals in the zoo.
Give me that, you petty excuse for an officer.
And Andor is also doing that. It's showing us how much paperwork and office politics are in the background of fascism, but it's not expecting us to laugh at the fact that the fascists are doing paperwork. It's expecting us to note the grim reality of it instead of thinking that it's funny. It is still kind of funny. It's less funny because we're also seeing that all of this paperwork is like the evil arithmetic of death camps, prison labor, and sending people off to die, and organizing police beatings and such, but it is still kind of absurd on its face. You know, we're living through it here in the second Trump administration, so it's hard. If you don't laugh, you'll scream. That was the closest comparison that I could think of watching through the Empire scenes of this. You know, there's one pratfall and one boing sound effect away from this just being fucking Spaceballs. Do kids today, do the young people today even know Spaceballs? If not, watch Spaceballs. You'll like it. It's the actual antidote to being sick of there being too much Star Wars. Speaking of too much Star Wars, the reason that this probably feels a little less good than I think the first season feels somehow a little more rushed. This is Andor Season 2, aka the last season of Andor. Because this pretty much takes us right up to just before the beginning of Rogue One. I think that's probably as close as I can get to a spoiler without doing actual spoilers, which they don't want us to do in these reviews, and okay, fine, I'll be good. It feels like the most visible version yet of what is probably going to feel like the great contraction era of Disney Plus shows as we now wind down from the era of make as much content as possible. We have to beat Netflix in early subscriber numbers, so we got the way more Marvel and Star Wars shows than anyone could possibly need to make, which pushed the subscriber numbers up in the first place. And then, oh god, surprise, surprise, oversaturation damages both brands. Who could have seen that coming except for everyone? How is the show? It's good. The first season was good. This is the same people that did the cleanup on Rogue One that turned that into apparently a releasable movie. If you like the first season, you're probably going to like this one. I don't think it's quite as coherently paced and not as complete a thing as the first season, but in terms of all of the stuff that you liked, it's back again. The characters are back. Definitely watch the recap stuff when they offer it to you, because even I, who rewatched the first season again, needed to go back and refer to, oh wait, now who the fuck is this, when they show up, because they show up and they expect you to have rewatched Andor to remember who the hell everyone is, because they just walk on. It's like, oh good, another person with unkempt facial hair and a brown jacket. Glad that they're back. And that's in between the Rogue One characters starting to come in around the halfway mark. I almost wish there was more Empire stuff, because that's clearly the characters that we didn't really have a full handle on from Rogue One, and in this one they're still just the weird bureaucracy doing a job in the background. I almost would now watch a whole just Empire show, which feels weird to say because you'd never want to hang out with these people, but they're compelling as the gears of evil grinding away in the background. Since this is the last season, I have no idea what they're planning next. The action works, which again, don't overset expectations, because this is decidedly not an action show. There's probably less action this time than the first one. This is very much a sneak around in the background, make plans. There's probably no big action scene that stands out like the prison break in the first season. Set design, great. They have really gotten it down to the point where you almost, other than in a few big time shots, noticing that they're reusing background play, certain angles a few times that you don't even notice that you're watching a TV show instead of a movie. I am decidedly not on the team that thinks that now every Star Wars show should be Andor. I would watch more stuff in the vein of Skeleton Crew and maybe a slightly less self-serious version of where Ahsoka was at. Very curious to see whatever the hell Starfighter turns out to be. But yeah, Andor Season 2, this is something everyone is pretty much set up to either not watch at all or like. And if you're in the like column, you're going to like it. I feel like the one part that's exactly as good as the first time around is Mon Mothma's storyline is very strong the whole way through Season 1 and Season 2. But if you're mainly here to catch back up with Cassian Andor, you're going to come away very satisfied. I really liked it. Season 2, I'm going to call it 7 out of 10. Feels about right for this. Not the best thing ever, but very solid. Give it a look.